Now we threw in that clip of the Widowmaker just to show, you know, rocks and stuffs that can get up in your factory OEM skid plate region of your motor.
That's a training buster.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, we hit some trails like that, scooting over some big rocks. You know, go down to Black Mountain, decided we need to protect that because we found out through a couple posts on the RZR forums, because I didn't know, she didn't know, that in the turbos, I think even in the Pro XP, that the transmission case actually sits lower than your frame rails.
Yes.
And the only...
I think it's a lot.
What's a lot?
Where it drops down.
Yeah,
it's like a significant amount.
It's quite a bit.
To be hanging down there.
Yeah, so your factory frame has a tiny little, maybe 10-inch long piece of their little metal that's stamped, so you know the metal's already weak from being stretched out, and it sits under your rear differential. The front half of your transmission is only protected by this plastic skid plate. So we got looking around. We were going to make one ourselves. We got looking around and found David Maddix.
Radioactive Designs.
Radioactive Designs.
There's a big spot.
You almost died.
I said it was big, but it wasn't.
So David Maddix, Radioactive Designs, actually started making these that actually, I think it's the first ones that I've seen drop down and protect, get the whole transmission all the way up to the cross member that sits under the motor on the frame. So it covers all of your transmission at, I think, what is that? That's good 3/16 1/4-inch steel we got. I think 3/16 maybe. It's solid, real nice piece. We just got done putting it in. Pretty easy if you know how to weld. If you don't know how to weld, I'm sure you've got a buddy that does have a welder that knows how to weld. So we're gonna make our own, but for $150 a do-it-yourself kit, I mean, by the time we'll take the time to buy the plate, get the plate in, go pick it up, bring it back, cut it out by hand, design it ourselves. We're gonna have a lot more time and part and material invested in it than the $150 that David offers with the do-it-yourself kit. You weld it yourself. It's a really cool design. It went together really easy. We'll just show you how real quick.
Yep.
So we can get Amber and Sprinkles and me and Vlad down to Black Mountain this weekend.
Yes, and hopefully I don't run up the belt, because someone must need a gear reduction now.
Somebody got big tires, 35-inch Rockzillas, competition compound, and it's probably going to lead us in the direction of doing a gear reduction in both RZRs over the winter, but that would be a whole nother video. So
good enough for who it's for right now.
Yeah, good enough for who it's for. We ain't too picky. Wish I could get out and ride. So we'll quit yakking and we'll get to this install, show you how to do it. As I said, it's easy. It's easy, yeah. And it's protecting your transmission from thousands of dollars of replacing all the cases. So it's a good product. Simple, easy. I know David's already, he's also selling parts. I don't know the parts, what all he carries, and I think he's an aftermarket Assassins dealer. I think Alba, don't quote me, but he's selling a lot of parts. Look him up on Facebook. He just started doing this. Give his Facebook page a like. It's Radioactive Designs.
He's also the service manager at Lexington Motorsports.
Power Sports, Motorsports, yeah. He's been working on these things a long time and knows his way around them very well. So it's cool to see somebody who knows these machines get working on them and making stuff for them. That's the best route to go.
I guess he's seen some busted cases before.
I'd say
coming
so,
into the
yeah.
shop.
Yeah, he's seen a need for this, and so like I said, it's the only one I think I've seen. So like I said, we're gonna quit talking and get to it. All right, so we got it unboxed. We forgot to do the unboxing in my short shorts and tank tops, being like, oh my God, look at this. But anyway, here's the bash plate. Of course, we're going to clean it up with the grinder a little bit. It comes straight off the laser table. You know, anything like that, just hit with the grinder real lightly, it'll come out. Anywhere where you're going to weld, we're going to hit with the grinder just to get a good spot. When you laser cut these, the metal kind of oxidizes, makes it a little harder to weld, I believe. So what we're going to do is that tab, that tab, that tab, that tab, the 4 side tabs, we're going to bend those up to about 45 degrees. And then the top and the bottom go to 50 degrees. We get that all set up, then that plate's going to sit on top of it like that. We'll weld all that together here on the table. You know, keep in mind that when you weld this, it's going to move. Heat expands the metal, so it's nice and flat right now. He's got these holes here that if you wanted to, you know, drill a hole in your table or weld bolts down there, where you can put them on there, and it'll hold it flat while you weld it, and that way it doesn't warp so bad. I think what we might do is we're just gonna maybe put some tack welds on there to hold the plate down to the table once we get that bent up, and before we start, you know, welding on it, we'll do that. It's all right. I guess we're gonna clean that plate up a little bit. Go ahead and bend up them tabs. We're just gonna take, you know, vice grips, channel locks, you know, adjustable wrench, whatever you can, just to peel them up, get them bent at the right angle. Right? Mm-hmm.
All right, we got the plate cleaned up. Hit all the edges that'll need welded. We like to use the cheap Harbor Freight grinders. They seem to last the longest. And now we gotta bend these plates. Those at 50, these at 45. And then we got this nice angle finder.
A little bit more. It ain't got to be exact. That's real close.
And a 45 there, sir.
Pretty good. Got me sweating all over the plate. So you're gonna notice we're gonna have a little gap there to fill in, and that is not a flaw in any type of quality or whatever, because when you cut, you know, I like it that he left these on here and you just have to bend them up, because that's gonna beat fighting holding little pieces in place while you try to get it all tacked together. So naturally, you know, geometry, rocket science, laws of physics and all that, when you make a straight cut, right there on your table, and then you go to bend it up, it's gonna leave a gap. So that ain't anything bad. That's perfectly fine. We can fill that in. So that being said, you know, because there's not enough, it would actually have to be, you know, these points would actually have to be overlapping to make that work, and you can't physically make that work.
That's impossible.
It's impossible. So it's good. I like the way he did it. It's gonna make it real easy to work with. You know, so it's pretty well. I mean, that's perfect. That's a perfect fit right there.
Ooh, it's pretty. It definitely beats me trying to plasma cut it by hand. Woo!
That's supposed to be a 50.
Yeah. It's off.
So just a little tweak more. I was eyeballing this. I didn't set it exactly. That's not quite 50, but let's see how this. Man, that fits in there pretty darn good. I'm gonna peel this one out just a little bit. Man, that fits in there good.
And in the directions, said with the rear towards you, drain hole on the left side.
Yes, transmission drain pipe. All right.
I think it said tack it together now.
Yeah, we need to go ahead and tack it together. Or I'm gonna make you tack it together.
We, you, me. And then we have to fit it up in there before we take it off and weld it, right? Isn't that what it said best to do?
Yeah, we want to test fit everything, just in case we would need to pop this loose and modify it. But I'm gonna say it's all good to go. So.
Is that so? Oh my gosh! Stop it!
What is it? Is it the?
Oh no, you're too sexy.
Where's the chair at? I need like the white snake. Isn't that the white snake video? They do the.
On the car. What song was that? Was it Here I Go Again?
Nah.
That's probably not even White Snake, is it?
I don't even know if it's White Snake. It's just one of them old names. So.
Well, I know it's something White Snake.
So,
we'll get back with you on that one.
So anyway, all we've done, we unboxed it, we grinded it off, cleaned it up, knocked the burrs off of it just from the process of cutting it out. It's super easy to do, so you need a grinder. We absolutely love the little flat disc sanding pads for them versus a traditional grinding blade. 80 grit gives it just a nice smooth surface to paint, touch, whatever, knock your edges off of. So, and then, something to pry with. So now I can get the welder and tack that together.
There it is. And the for sale razor. If anyone wants one, come get it.
Well, don't come get it. Bring some cash and come get it.
Well, and let us finish it first.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Okay.
All right, so now we're just tacking it together. All right, she's got it all tacked up. Just tack those pieces in place. We're gonna sit there and let that cool a minute because we want to test fit and make sure everything's going good. So while that's doing that, we'll cut out the old plate. So you don't have two cheap Harbor Freight grinders. You know, you want to switch over to a cutting wheel. So, can you see under here?
I'm coming.
So, straight edge up against the frame rail, boom, there's your transmission. And, you know, what we did up to this point is there's 6 10mm bolts to take this rear skid plate off, drop it down, get out of the way. But look, this is just plastic skid plate protecting that part right there. And see, it hits. It's sticking out below the frame rail, and you're just relying on Polaris plastic to keep from busting your 2 transmission cases at that spot right there. And even worse right here, that's just protected by your Polaris skid plate. So a bash plate is a must.
Unless you're just road riding, I guess.
Yeah.
But seems like even running over a big possum
Yeah.
could get it.
So I believe we got about 1.5 inches worth of weld right there, and then back here on both sides. We're gonna cut them out. I think that's all that's holding that in. Watch out, I don't know which way these sparks are gonna go. All right, so we got that cut out. I went along the welds there. You also have to come and cut those 3 spots right up there. If I had to do it again, because I kind of nicked my frame in a couple spots, I'd come in a little bit from the weld, not actually try to grind the weld, and just cut just a straight line through there, there, and the straight line through there. I fought the weld a little bit. Just trying not to get into my frame a little bit. And I nicked it a couple places, but it happens. We'll touch it up and be ready to get this plate on. So we're just gonna test fit this real quick. So it's good. It's good. The clearances are good up in there. Not hitting anywhere. Away from the transmission, we got protection now. So we're gonna go ahead and weld this up.
Okay.
Okay. You're gonna weld it up. So next step, you got it all tacked together there. We fit it in there, fits perfectly in there, gets everything away from the transmission. And actually, you know, once we cut out the factory plate that's in there under the differential of the transmission, the differential even sticks down further, you know, even more in the frame. So just making this piece so important. And like I said, David Maddix, Radioactive Designs, 150 bucks. It's cheap, it looks good, fits together real nice so far. I know it will. When we put it on there, we fit it on there. So he's got these holes, like we said. You can put some bolts down, you can bolt it down to the table to try to keep, you know, minimal warping when you weld it. We just went ahead and tack welded it on the side, just easy, simple to do. It ain't going nowhere. I'll try to keep the warping when we weld it to a minimum. So, you know, we're just gonna get started welding up on it. And I said, we're gonna weld all tops and bottoms of those plates. Got to fill in that little gap that we talked about. That's not a defect, is a very good design, and that's easy to fill up. So we're gonna get this welded up and move on with it. You're up. Got you representing Super ATV on your hoodie. It looks good. Keep going, you got a lot more to go.
I don't like you putting the camera on me.
Well, look,
when I'm
you
welding.
the camera on it and you laid a good weld. Don't sneak. That plate so we can get the Black Mountain.
Put pressure on me.
All right, so she got it all welded up. Like I said, we just took our time. You can hear that metal moving right now. We just took our time, just did section here, go over to the other side, do a section. Got all of our gaps filled in on the edges where the corners come together. Looks real nice. We'll clean that up a little bit, get some of the splatter off there, and then we're gonna let it cool. Then what?
Paint.
We're gonna flip it over, paint the inside of it down under the transmission, so it's not a big rusty mess down there, right? And then before we start welding on the RZR, we, right or wrong, it's just the way that we do it. We go ahead and take the battery terminals off and disconnect the computer, just so you know, our luck, the way it happens sometimes. Trouble happens, so. All right, so we popped our welds loose, got it off the table, and these ears were the only thing that we got movement out of. So I'm just gonna put them in here. We did one side already. And we tried just that line with that line, because that seems to be where the bend was it folded up like this. Just the tiniest little bit, not bad at all, not nothing clamps can't fix. Just kind of OCD about little certain things. So not a lot of pressure. Still needs some more.
Ooh, look at them muscles.
Yeah. How's that?
Looks a lot better.
Looks a lot better. Okay. So we did this side already. I just want to see what it is over here. And that's as perfect as we can get it. So
it's beautiful.
Very little. We can live with that. So I said it's not anything with the process, it's just our process. He makes it move. So we shot a little spray paint on the engine transmission side of it, and we just got it in position, got it clamped up there. You can see it fits nicely.
I'm gonna let Steven get up under there and weld.
Weld upside down and get burnt to pieces.
Well, and I'm a beginner, and welding it to the machine isn't super comfortable just yet. So if he messes up his machine, that's okay. But it's not okay if I mess up his machine.
Not the teeth looking things we're welding down in here in between the gaps.
what?
I said there's so much junk in the way.
He said there's a bunch of junk in the way.
Trailing arms and stuff.
Yep. When Steven gets this welded on, then all we have to do is paint it. Maybe grind if there's any splatter we don't want on there. And then it'll be done.
Alright, so we got our plate welded up in there and painted. Don't show a picture of all my bad welds. I hate welding upside down.
I wasn't even going to. I was just showing the awesome radioactive design. And then I was going to just be like, there it is. Welding
upside down sucks. There's some bubble gum under there. But it is what it is. Good enough for who it's for me. So we got to trim up this skid plate a little bit because it comes up where the bash plate drops down. So I measured, hooked that right there where the two skid plates meet, and then there, and just made a mark at 19, chopped it off there, and we'll see how this goes. I'll leave that loose till I get these three in. Man, a nice lift in the shop would be awesome.
A lot of stuff would be awesome. Like if somebody, a fairy would come put a gear reduction and sprinkles before this weekend.
Uh-huh.
And a lift. We always have to throw in an excavator.
Yeah, we want an excavator. Don't have no need for it, but we want one.
Okay, I think they can figure the rest of that. How's this look?
It's floppy, so I don't know if I wanted to cut just enough to cover the teeth things. So, but there was I saw a hole in the cross member. Right here. I don't know if that's what it's for or not,
but it works.
But it works. I have to get a drill bit and drill this hole over there, and then that'll make that perfect. So we're gonna get a drill and drill a little bit, use our washer and bolt, and we'll suck that up tight, and man, that'll be good. This lines up good. Right there's a drain plug hole, plenty of room to get in it. I've got stick one of my fat fingers in between the spots of the transmission, so that's dropped down. We've got our transmission completely covered by something other than Polaris plastic skid plate and Polaris plastic thin stamped out metal. So it went together real good, looks real good. We know it's going to be sturdy, and we're going to give it a test run. So that's all we have left on this, is we're going to put that in. We don't need to show you that, you can do that. We got to plug in our battery and put our computer back in, and this thing's ready to hit the trail.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. So
Woo pow.
So Dave Maddix got us well protected, like we said. He knows every inch of these, forwards, backwards, up and down, and he's come up with a really cool design right here to protect our expensive transmission from getting smashed. So thanks to David for his help and his support on this. Go to his Facebook page, Radioactive Designs. He's on Gmail, I believe, Radioactive Designs 2020. David Maddix, get a hold of him. Get you one of these things. It was super easy to install. If we hadn't taken the extra time just to be real slow welding this up so it wouldn't warp the plate, I mean, you probably have this done in hour and a half. If you got all the tools, and it doesn't take much. Anybody can do this. Like I said, if you got a buddy that can weld, you know, take him a case of beer, take him the skid plate, and y'all put it together. So thanks for checking us out. Check out our other videos. Crash City Side by Side, Stephen and Amber, and you know, subscribe, like, comment, share, and you know, get out and go riding. Till next time.